The knock came before dawn, sharp enough to pull me from sleep. A courier stood on my doorstep, holding an envelope stamped with my own company's logo. I assumed it was a contract I'd been awaiting, but when I opened it, my world fractured. My family, parents and siblings, had filed for involuntary bankruptcy against me. They accused me of debts I never incurred and deals I never approved. Every page bore my signature, perfectly replicated, though I had never touched a pen. My name was no longer mine. It was a weapon pointed at my life. They listed themselves as creditors, claiming I had stolen from them. It wasn't about money. It was about erasing me. In that moment, I realized my family wanted my existence revoked. I went to confront them, hoping for an explanation. Instead, I walked into a prepared ambush. My father sat confidently, legs crossed, as though he chaired a board meeting. He claimed that since my company flourished, the family deserved compensation for sacrifices they never made. My sister accused me of hoarding success and forgetting the people who built me, twisting memories into chains. They had documents, dates, and rehearsed arguments ready. Every sentence chipped at my sanity. Then came the final blow. They planned to portray me as mentally unstable, ensuring the court would dismiss any defense I made. I wasn't invited to negotiate. I was summoned to surrender everything. There was no warmth, no hesitation. That day, I understood. They didn't envy my success. They wanted ownership of it. The courtroom felt colder than any winter. My family arrived dressed in black, like grieving mourners at a funeral they orchestrated. My brother leaned toward me and whispered, "This ends today," with a smirk that felt like a signature carved into my spine. The clerk called my company's name, and every eye shifted to me. My parents bowed their heads, pretending heartbreak. My sister wiped imaginary tears, rehearsed victimhood at its finest. Their lies were dressed as tragedy, and I stood as the villain they created. They didn't want justice. They wanted a public execution of my reputation. The atmosphere thickened with silent judgment. That whisper wasn't a threat. It was a prophecy they believed the court would fulfill. They expected me to collapse under the weight of their performance. My attorney reviewed the mountain of fabricated documents and went pale. Contracts, transfers, and agreements appeared legitimate, yet I hadn't participated in any of them. He admitted the case was dangerous, too well plotted, too detailed. He questioned whether defending me was worth risking his own credibility. For a moment, I saw hesitation in his eyes, a fear that my family's deception could crush us both. As he flipped through pages bearing forged versions of my signature, I realized my family hadn't acted impulsively. They had studied my habits, mimicked my decisions, and mapped my life. Their betrayal was years in the making, crafted with surgical precision. It wasn't greed, it was strategy. Losing the case wasn't their goal. Replacing me was. My lawyer stayed, but his warning echoed. This would get uglier. The judge began reading my family's accusations with mechanical calm. Then he paused and asked my sister to explain a financial term central to her claim. She blinked in confusion. My father fumbled with papers, pretending to search for notes. Their confidence wavered. They had memorized lines, not truths. The courtroom energy shifted. What once felt like a noose tightened around my neck now looped around theirs. My silence, mocked before, turned into suspicion against them. I watched expressions change, from certainty to doubt. They hadn't expected questions, they expected obedience. The judge's curiosity grew, and their facade cracked. It was the first time their script failed. In that moment, I didn't win anything. They simply began losing control of the narrative they built with lies. Then the judge reread my company's name slowly, as though recalling something. He leaned forward and asked if I was the creator behind a patented financial software used by major institutions. My lawyer confirmed. The courtroom's mood transformed instantly. Lawyers adjusted their posture. Observers whispered. My family's smug expressions collapsed. The judge was not merely informed. He was a former corporate attorney who had followed my work. He understood the value, credibility, and reach of what I created. Their accusations no longer resembled truth. They resembled sabotage. In that instant, the power dynamic flipped. My family had tried to bury me with my own achievements. Forgetting achievements leave records. Recognition didn't just protect me, it exposed them. Their confidence evaporated as they realized the judge knew exactly who I was. The courtroom fell silent as the judge issued his ruling. Instead of approving my bankruptcy, he ordered an immediate investigation into fraud, forgery, and conspiracy against the very people who filed the case. The forged signatures they relied on became legal timestamps of their intent. Their lawyer froze, realizing the trap had reversed. My name was cleared. Their credibility shattered. They were no longer plaintiffs, they were potential convicts. Court officers gathered evidence, while my family stood speechless. The same documents they weaponized now built the case that would destroy their ambitions. They didn't just lose control of my assets. They lost the narrative. They walked into the courtroom expecting victory and left facing consequences they crafted with their own hands. Months later, I stood in my new office, overlooking a skyline once deemed too ambitious for someone like me. Investors approached with offers after reading the court records. They admired resilience, not revenge. My company didn't merely survive, it expanded. Partnerships multiplied, and valuation soared beyond projections. My family tried reaching out, portraying themselves as misunderstood victims, but their access was revoked permanently. They had gambled everything on my destruction and lost more than money. They lost proximity to the future they tried to steal. I learned a painful truth. Blood may create relatives, but loyalty creates family. Their betrayal didn't weaken me. It clarified my purpose. What they meant to bury became the foundation of everything I built next.